Hello everyone, and welcome to this video that is known as Confronting Yourself. This video I believe to be the most important one in the entire Audiobook Income Academy program. If you can understand and start living this way, like we're about to talk about, it will absolutely change everything. I cannot stress enough how incredibly important this stuff is. So with that said, what we'll be talking about is how to achieve complete life transformation. The most important thing to understand to achieve all your goals. We'll be talking about the dark force holding you back, and then raising consciousness. What does that even mean? That's what we're going to talk about. Now, a quick disclaimer that I want to make, that I feel like I have to make before we get into this lesson. And that is that we are about to say things that you probably don't want to hear. This is things that other people won't tell you because it hurts, but it's the truth. You have to hear this for your own sake. We only want the best for you, which means we have to be hard on you. And the point of this lesson is not to make you feel bad, it's to give you control of your life. I want to make sure you guys know this because some people might take it the wrong way. Now, we understand there are underprivileged people in the world, but if you are fortunate enough to have a computer and internet access so you can watch this course, you are not one of them, meaning we are talking to you in this lesson. Okay, just want to say that and make that clear before we get into it. This is only for your own sake so you can take control of your life. And if you take it the right way, this will completely change your life. And please just don't misunderstand anything that's being said in this lesson. It's all in your best interest that you watch this video and that we share this message. Yes. All right. So with that said, let's continue. Now, do not watch this video at 1.5 speed. I know there's the speed controls in the bottom right-hand corner of this video. Do not use it for this video. I want you to just watch it at normal 1x speed so you can properly absorb everything that we're talking about. Okay. So let's start with the question, how do you go about a full life transformation? Now, what you should not do is do not focus on going from where you are to where you want to be. Going from point A to point B, do not focus on that. What you need to focus on is going from the person who you are to the person who you want to be, who is going to achieve the things that you want to achieve. So what we're saying is you need to change who you are, because successful people and normal people are completely different people. The annoying thing about that sentence is it's hard to explain until you see for yourself and understand these high achievers and what they're actually like, how they actually think, the beliefs that they hold, and things like that. It's not a coincidence that they're worth $500 million or they've changed the world in this or that way. It is not a coincidence whatsoever. They might look the same on the outside, but they are not the same. They are very different people. They're actually polar opposites of each other in many different ways. And to define successful people, a successful person is not necessarily someone who has a lot of money. No, absolutely not. A successful person is someone who basically achieves everything they want. They are in control of everything, and then they turn into the reality. Now, there are people that can make a lot of money from a certain instance. Let's say it was Bitcoin, whatever. They can make that money, but they can never make it again because they're not the type of person that really made that money. Exactly. That was a situation that happened to them, but they're not a successful person. No. They just happen to have made a lot of money from this certain instance. That's just one example. And then if you look at all the other areas of their life, that amount of financial success would not align with every other part of their life because that's not who they are. Yes, so we kind of just want to throw that one out there and say that's not what we're talking about. Yeah, success is being able to achieve big, crazy, unbelievable dreams, whatever that may be. That's what success is in this case. Now, for me, success is business related because that is my absolute passion. I would live and die for my business. So let's get back to what we were talking about. Now, who they are, these successful people, is what created the success they have. Who they are is what created the success they have. And this is extremely important to talk about or to understand, and that's what this entire video is about. Well, I want to say this video is about understanding that concept. The rest of the week is about becoming that person. How do you become that person? Yes, this entire week is about, what you just said. Now, to be able to go from who you are to who you want to be, we have this illustration right here. On the left is who you are. We're not saying that you're depressed or sad. You might be happy with your life, okay? But it's just an illustration because you joined this program because you're not happy with where you are in life right now. That is a fair assumption to make. You would not have paid us a lot of money to be able to work with us if you were completely 100% satisfied with everything. There is something that you want to change. So that will be you on the left-hand side. You on the right-hand side right here is is the person achieving the things that you want in life, whatever it may be. In this case, it is building a successful publishing business that makes $2, $3, $5, $10,000 a month in additional income. Okay. And when you make this transformation, like this illustration shows, a lot of things happen. A lot happens. And why we're showing this is because it's not your life now and what your life is about to be. A lot of things happen. Yes. But the focus should be on the inside of who you are. A lot of things are happening to you, not to your surroundings or to your bank account, to you. And that is how you go from who you are to who you want to be. So examples of what changes happen within you, it's things like you see the world differently. You have a different perspective on everything with the world and how it works. You think differently and you believe in different things. These are three of the biggest changes that I could use to best explain how you're going to change from who you are to who you want to be. I know, again, these are vague terms, but it's really things like this. And that's a lot of what we're going to talk about. So really what we're saying is that changing your life comes from the inside, and your inside creates your outside. That meaning your reality. You create your reality. So what is the reason for where you are in life right now? What is the reason for the reality that you currently live in? Okay. That being the amount of money you have, the job you have. That meaning everything in your life. Everything. The boyfriend, girlfriend you have, the friends, where you live, like you said, everything. Everything. The reason for it is you. It's as plain, as simple as that. It is 100% you, and that's what this entire video is about. Where you are in life right now is just an accumulation of all the decisions you've ever made, which has led you to right here. Whenever anything's come up, you made a decision, and then that impacts your life. You made a decision, that impacts your life. And it's just added up to the job you have, the friends you have, where you live, everything in your life. Your life is the sum of all the decisions that you've ever made since you were a child. Okay, so the reason for where you are right now in life is solely you. It is not all of these things. We really need to be extremely clear on this. It is not because of your parents or their views on this or that, or they don't have enough money, or they had too much money, so I had no drive to work because they gave me everything. It's not because you weren't born with money. It's not where you live. It's not because you don't live in America. It's not your friends. It's not because you have unsupportive friends and they're a bad influence and they just like to party. They don't like the things that I care about, like making money and things like that. It's not your age. It's not because I'm only 18 years old or I'm 61 years old and I'm past my prime. This new generation, I can't keep up with it. It's not from me. It's not the government. The government has absolutely nothing to do with this. It's not your race. It's not your class. It's not your English skills. If you think you're not as good in English as you should be or you want to be if you're not a native English speaker, it has absolutely nothing to do with that. It's not because you're an immigrant. It's not your job holding you back. It's not because I work too many hours, so I can't put my time into what I really want to be doing. I can't achieve my goals because of my boss. It's not your boss. It's not your tech skills or lack of tech skills. It's not your looks because you don't look like a successful person. You're not tall. You don't have a good jawline. You're balding. It's none of those things. Those have absolutely nothing to do with it. It's certainly not your gender. It's not your awkwardness. Now I'll speak for us. We were definitely awkward growing up, and I thought for a long time my awkwardness just played a big role in the things that I had and didn't have, such as a girlfriend, good friends, confidence, things like that. It's not your personality. It's not your injuries or your back pain. Your back pain is not the reason why you can't sit at a computer and do this or that. It's not your lack of skills. It's not your past. It's definitely not your family. And it's certainly not your student debt either. It's absolutely none of these things. Because if you believe that the reason for where you are in life right now is a multitude of things, like don't lie right now. I know that you're sitting there and you have reasons that you're thinking about, like, no, this is why I don't have this and that, this and that. It's a combination of a bunch of things. What you're doing when you think that is you are blaming something else for what you have. And here's what happens when you blame things. When you say something like, I'm not successful because my parents are unsupportive. That's a really big one. That's one we went through ourselves in the beginning. Now they're supportive. But if you blame unsupportive parents on why you can't go out and do something that they don't believe in, what happens is you are living a life where nothing will change. I will not change. I will not do what I need to do to achieve my goals until my parents become supportive. And there's no telling that they'll ever become supportive.
You have no control of whether you can do your best, but if they don't want to be that, then they can't be that, and that's not your decision.
Yeah. And when you say, I'm not successful because my friends are holding me back, that is a really common one, a really common reason. And we're not saying that things like that don't exist, that your friends don't hold you back, because they absolutely do. They could be poor influences. They're the people you hang out with. You can't convince them to actually make a change and things like that. What you're saying is that nothing will change. I will not change until I have a different group of friends. And when you say, I'm not successful because I'm awkward and not good at talking to people, you're saying that nothing will change until you, out of nowhere, become charismatic, good at talking to people, not awkward, not self-conscious. You won't do anything until that change happens. And it's supposed to just come without any change.
Effort, time, awareness put into it.
Yeah. Or I'm not successful because I have so many student loans. I have $80,000 in student loans. So that could be a big one. You throw all the responsibility onto the student loans. Like, you have this conversation. What's your dreams? Everyone's talking about what their goals are. And you talk about yours. And then you say the reason why I haven't done it is because I have a lot of student loans. So I need to get that fixed first. I need to get that out of the way.
So in 15 years, then we can start working on what I really want.
Yeah.
That's
so
what you're saying.
The reality that you're creating is that nothing will change until I'm completely out of debt.
It just gives you like a get out of jail free card to just
Exactly.
as an excuse for, not to feel bad about not taking action or doing what you actually want to be doing until you're out of debt.
That's exactly what it is. You're giving yourself a free pass. And here's the thing. When you blame things on why you're not successful, once you're out of student debt, if that was what was to blame, the instant you come out of student debt, there's now a new thing to blame. Now that is the reason that's stopping you. And the reason why you do that is because you won't take personal responsibility for the fact that you aren't where you want to be and it's your fault.
It hurts so much to say it's because of me.
It hurts so much to say that you put the blame on other things and you can't accept the responsibility. Now, the next one is, I'm not successful because I'm a woman. This is a very common one amongst women in business. I'm not making $20 million a year like this or that successful CEO because I'm a woman and I'm not respected and people don't listen to me. What you're saying is nothing will change. You're not saying it. This is the reality that you're creating, is that you will not achieve those things until either you're not a woman, which isn't happening, or the society, or I should say the stigma around women in business changes, which probably isn't going to change anytime soon either.
If women say that I can't start or have this successful certain business because I'm a woman and they don't want to buy from me because I'm a woman, let's say that's the excuse.
Yeah.
If you do a good enough job at solving their problem, no one cares. That's what I want to say. No one cares about you if you're a man or a woman. They only care about themselves and what can you do for them. And that goes for every single thing we're talking about here. No one cares the reason why.
You're establishing a victim mentality and saying, this is why it's okay to not be who I want to be, and it's because of that. Mm-hmm. It's because of that. And then the last one, I'm not successful because I'm a minority and nothing will change until minorities have equal rights, because that's what people who use that as a blame, that's what they believe, that we don't have equal rights, we're not treated the same, everything's different, and it's causing me to fail at everything that I'm doing because of that.
There are so many people that live with that constantly.
No, it's most people. Yeah. It's absolutely most people, because once you don't live like that, it'll absolutely change your life. I cannot overstate that enough. It'll absolutely change your life. So again, it's so easy to blame something else or someone else. It's so easy because that's 99% of people's default. You will always default, to your default. That's the easy thing to do. And it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like things are okay. And it's out of my control. There's nothing I could do. So my family just doesn't have money. So that's why I don't have a successful business, even though I would love to have my own successful business. But it's just not in my cards.
Now,
it makes you feel great. Like, oh, okay, so that just wasn't possible to begin with.
Now, if you're still listening to this right now and thinking, okay, I see what they're saying, but there's this, they haven't covered this one. Mm-hmm. This is the reason why, and there's nothing I can do. Mm-hmm. There's nothing I can do. If you truly, truly believe there's nothing you can do, just do this. Just hypothetically, erase it, and then say, okay, that's not in your life. Now what? Are you then now still doing everything that you can to achieve whatever it is that you want?
No, because
even if that's not there,
you'll find something else.
Yeah,
it's a mentality that you live by. Okay, and the moment that you begin to blame anything else in your life, you instantly lose. You've lost the game of life. Once you blame other things, you lose control of your life forever. Seriously, you lose control instantly once you blame anything else. So I don't blame you that you feel like like you don't have control of your life. I don't blame you that you feel that way, because you don't. When you blame something else, you don't have any control. It's in the hands of something else. You can't control it anymore. You're living a life that was decided by outside factors. So when you don't have control, everything is decided by other things. That's not like a mentality thing. It actually is decided by other things when you don't have control. And you're giving up control by blaming something else. Now to the point of the name of this lesson, which is Confronting Yourself. Here's an image of a guy confronting himself in the mirror, and that's exactly what you need to do. And actually look at yourself and understand that the reason you are where you are right now is because of you. Okay? Now, here it says, I'm just going to read it. You have to realize that where you are in life right now, that's almost verbatim what I said, is because of nobody but you. How much money you have, look in your bank account. If you're not happy with how much money is in there, there's only a few $1,000s. That's because of you, your physical state. If you're overweight, you're not happy with the way you look, so that's why girls don't like me, because I'm unattractive. Your mental state, if you're always stressed, all of the voices in your head, the doubts, the fears, the excuses, they're all your fault. It's your fault. It's not because of you. It's your fault.
And also, everything great that you have in your life
You deserve all the credit for it.
is because of you.
You deserve all the credit for it. If you have a beautiful wife or husband that you're super proud of and you can't wait to show off to other people, good job. That was all you. That was all you. Okay? Now, everything that you've ever thought is someone else's fault, if you flunked out in school and it was because you had a teacher who didn't like you, it actually wasn't their fault that you failed and didn't get a scholarship and didn't go on to play college sports, they ruined your career. It wasn't actually their fault. It was actually your fault. And you are your own worst enemy because you've been blaming things other than yourself. That's why you are your worst own enemy. And you are that dark force holding you back, wondering, why can't I seem to change anything and actually do something substantial with my life and move closer to these big things I want to do?
It's because you're not in control if you're not taking responsibility for everything you have and where you are.
It's because you're not in control. How do you expect to be able to get the outcome that you want when you're not in control? But if you're sitting there saying, but it's not my fault. Like, listen, I completely understand if you really feel that way. I completely understand. I'm about to explain why, because there's more to this. If you're thinking, but it's not my fault, because you feel, how did I end up here? I didn't intend for this. If it all was my fault, I wouldn't be here. If I'm so in control of my life, I would have something else because I don't want this. I don't want where I'm at right now, working this job I hate, around these people I don't like, struggling with money like I am. If I was in control, this would not be where I was.
Yeah, why the heck would I choose to do this then?
Yeah.
Of course I'm not in control, clearly, because that doesn't make any sense.
There's a reason for this, and it's not just because you made bad decisions. It's not because of that at all. It's a lot deeper than that, and I really hope this opens your eyes, what we're about to say. So what it is that you've had a lack of consciousness your whole life about how the world actually works. So you've been living on autopilot for however many years you've been alive right now. You've been living on autopilot without understanding the effects of every action that you take. It's not the fact that you've made bad choices and that's created where you are right now. You didn't know that these choices and all the things you would do would create this life. You didn't know that every action actually has a reaction, and everything that you do actually makes a difference in your life. Things you did 5 years ago, you're living right now. So you simply weren't aware that this is how the world works. And that's almost not your fault. I mean, it is your fault because you didn't go out to seek the truth, but it's not your fault that you weren't aware of this because you simply you weren't conscious of this is what happens when I do that.
You don't know what you don't know, and it's really impossible to go out and look for it because you don't know in that sense.
Exactly. So you weren't aware that this is how the world works until now. Now, to better explain what raising consciousness means, I'm sure you've heard of it, and a lot of people will hear that and be like, oh, that's just hippie people. But what raising consciousness really means is bringing your level of awareness and understanding of the world and yourself to a higher level.
So when people hear that, I'm almost positive that they understand what we mean because they have experienced it themselves.
Everyone has experienced it to some degree.
They will look back on who they were, let's say, 5 years ago and think, wow, that person didn't know anything.
Right? Exactly.
Everyone knows exactly what that feeling is like. And that's also what this illustration on the right side is. You start with yourself. Let's say as a child is that small box. You only know what's inside that box. There's nothing else to it.
You only know what you know. You can't look outside of what you don't know because you don't know it even exists.
And then as you learn and grow and learn more things, that box becomes bigger, and then you can look at your old self objectively and then see what you're thinking. You made this decision, you did this reaction, and that's led to certain things in your life.
And it doesn't gradually, you don't gradually increase consciousness like bit by bit every day. It happens in breakthroughs, in massive breakthroughs. And this video, I'm hoping, gives you one of these consciousness raising breakthroughs.
So really, you should be able to step outside of yourself, look at your life, and then realize where you are is because of the decisions you've made. And you can actually look at each individual decision and see how that impacted your life or how it got you to where you are now.
Now, this illustration on the right-hand side is an exact diagram of how raising consciousness works. You live in this small box. That's your whole world. This box is your everything. It's everything you know. Like, you know everything in this world. But there's actually a lot outside of this little box, and you can break through it when something happens, certain events, certain people come into your life, certain epiphanies, realizations, and your box completely breaks and you enter a new world. You're literally living in a different reality.
Here's an example that I expect that you have experienced before, and that is that because you joined this program, you know about entrepreneurship, online business, the ability to create a life of freedom that you want, but then you still have so many people in your life that they're just working their job, completely unaware that they're wasting their time and just living their life, not doing what they actually want to be doing, and you try to open their eyes to sort of this side of creating the life you actually want. You try to explain to them, but they just don't get it.
No, here's the thing. They have no idea of what's possible and what's out there. Their entire world, all they know, all they think exists is get a job and work that and be happy and have a family and enjoy the weekends. They literally don't know what's out there. And because their eyes have never been opened up to it. No one's ever showed them. So you can't fault them. They don't know. What you can fault them for is they never went out of their way to seek the truth if they were unhappy. But we're not going to go there.
Now, I'm sure you can relate to that. There are people in your life that you just look at them like, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. And that'll be an example of them having this smaller level of consciousness, lower level of awareness of how the world actually works.
And here's the contradiction in it all, is that the people who think they know everything and think they have understood life, they are the ones who are living in the absolute smallest boxes. Their box is so small that they can't even move. And when they can't even move, that's when they think they know everything. The box is so small, they've seen everything. So they're convinced that's how it is. I know everything. It's because their box is so small. And that's just very unfortunate for those people. Now, these raising consciousness happens in stages. Like with this box, you could add 10 more boxes. And each time it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it never ends. I experienced one of these phenomenons just a few weeks ago. Yeah, about a few weeks ago on the business side of things. And my life has completely changed since. What I achieved was a different level of realizing what I was capable of. So I just experienced that for myself a few weeks ago. And before that, I remember another massive one that changed my life. It's these breakthroughs.
Yeah, it's so crazy that this breakthrough that we recently had in consciousness and awareness is what pushed us to do a remake of this course once again.
Because originally, AIA was only about publishing. It was just about publishing. But then we learned that to help other people achieve their goals, there's a lot more than just telling them the how-to. So this entire first week exists because of a breakthrough that we recently had in helping others.
What it is that we learned there's so much more to having success with publishing than just publishing. So we thought if we want our students to actually have this success, they need more than just publishing.
Listen, we've known that for years. We've known that for years and years.
Yes, of course.
But the idea of spreading knowledge that's not publishing related to our publishing students, that didn't make sense to us before. Like, what? But now it's everything. So like we've been saying, when you raise consciousness, absolutely everything changes. The world that you live in changes completely. And raising consciousness is necessary to achieve supreme intelligence, which is at least my goal. It should be everyone's goal, whether or not you are conscious of that goal. That should be something that you strive for. It's really becoming super open-minded and never thinking that you know everything. Never ever think that you know everything. But let's move on. So when you realize that you have control of everything in your life, which you absolutely do, here's the thing about it. It's not just this, you don't just think this way so that you can take all the responsibility and change your behaviors. Yes, you do. But the thing is, when you realize that you have control of everything in your life, you get all the power in the world. It's crazy. When you put it all on yourself, it's not, don't think of it like you put it all on myself. Oh, I've been all this bad person and I should hate myself. No, it gives you a massive sense of power. So much power to change and do anything. You just need to stop blaming anything else. Take it all on yourself for the bad and the good. And the good, that's the power. Now, moving on, this is a picture from, I don't know, 2012? 2011. We had no awareness of how life works at all. We're living in small boxes, and we just didn't know any better. We were just happy, doing our thing, just kind of thinking that everything just happens to us, because that's almost how people are raised these days. So at this point, we have a low level of awareness and consciousness of the effect of our actions on our life.
It's 2009. You see the t-shirt?
Oh yeah, 2009. A low level of awareness and consciousness here. And now, 8 years later, this was from a few weeks ago.
10 years later.
10 years later. A few weeks ago when we were in Mexico, we are now fully aware that we can create exactly what we want. And that's why if you objectively, from a third person perspective, looked at our lives right now, we could tell you later about the kind of life we've been living the past few years. If you objectively look at it, you think, holy shit, they have the absolute dream life. They have the life that I could only dream of, that internet life that you only read about in blogs and success stories. We have been living that life for the past 2 years. To me, it's completely normal. It's completely normal. So I don't think of it as a dream life. Now it's just my regular life. But it absolutely is someone else's dream life. It's my own as well. But now my dream life has changed into something bigger. But now we are fully aware that we created this. And I'm not just sitting here to talk about ourselves. It's the same for you and everyone else. You need to be fully aware that you can create exactly what it is that you want. Okay, so nothing changes until you realize this. And when you blame anything else, you are giving away control of your life. It's not the idea of I'm blaming something else, so I can't take responsibility for myself. No, it's the fact that when you blame anything else, you are giving away your own control.
Yeah, the point
you don't have power anymore. You are powerless.
The point of this is not to make you feel bad.
No, it's not
The
at all.
point is not to take responsibility. The point is to give you control of your life.
Yes.
That's the point of all this. All I want is for you to have everything that you want.
Yeah. Now, why are we talking about this?
This is a publishing course.
Now, why are we talking about this? Let's go full circle for a second and bring it back to publishing and AIA. Now, here we have a simple equation of two different people's reality. So one is person A. They joined Audiobook Income Academy and they had massive success. Okay? And then we have person B. They joined AIA. They even went through all the lessons. They even published 2 books. But they failed. They didn't make money, and they failed, and they don't have the publishing business that they were dreaming of when they first started this program. They don't have it. Now, what's the difference between these two people? They both have the same program. It's all the exact same. We're updating it right now, but otherwise, it's the exact same content, the exact same material. Some people had massive success with the absolute first version of this program. So, if you know anything about math and equations, that's known as the constant. And you can cross out constants. I think that's the right terminology for it. You can cross them out, and what we're left with is just the 2 variables, person A and person B. It's person A who is the reason for their success. It's the only difference in the equation. It was simply the person that was the difference. It was not an outside factor that wasn't yourself. Now, here we have a picture of Suraj with me and Rasmus on each side of him. Suraj, so this is in our place in Bali. He came over, he's from India, and we're showing you a picture of Suraj because he is just the absolute epitome of everything we've been talking about here, about taking responsibility and not blaming things and not saying it's because of this, because of that, because I can guarantee that no one had what Suraj had, yet Suraj came out on the other side massively successful with publishing. Now, he was not a part of AIA until very recently, so AIA has nothing to do with his success in publishing.
Let's talk a bit about what his situation was like in his journey and what that looked like for him.
And it's very important to talk about right now.
So Suraj is born and raised in India.
Bangalore, India.
And he traveled to Bali to meet us and a bunch of other people. That was the very first time he ever left India. Okay. Christian and I were the very first white people he had ever talked to in his life.
Literally.
At 20 or 21 years old. The first white people he had ever talked to. And he had already made $10,000 a month from his publishing business at that point. When he first got started, which is now about 3 years ago, I believe, he was a college student in India making $150 a month, and English was his second language. He had no money. There was nothing around him. No one was ever talking about business. He did not have the type of people that were going to influence him and inspire him and support him and all these things.
He barely had a computer that worked. Barely had internet that worked, had not a single soul around him that would lead to anything into where he is right now. Absolutely nothing. He cannot state about how much he had working against him living in India.
And if you think he got lucky, he got this, but he had this advantage. He did this. He wrote his first 3 books himself. They all failed. He saved up money for months just to finally have his first book written by a company. That failed as well. He started writing himself, but right now he has. We actually caught up with him on the phone a few days ago. He's made over $10,000, between 10 and 15, for I think the last 9 months.
Yeah.
He said this was really crazy when he told me this.
We talked with him on the phone, video chatted about 3 days ago. So people understand that we're actually good friends with Suraj. I love Suraj, incredible person.
One of the most amazing people I've ever met. I just talked to him and he just explained what it's like. He says he just has so much, like in India, $10,000 is $500,000 because his family makes like $300 a month or something like that. He says in India, he has so much money he doesn't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. Like that's just to compare the situation of where he came from to where he is now.
So Suraj is guaranteed to be starting at a place much lower, much more unfortunate, much lesser than where you are starting right now. Guaranteed 100% without a doubt. Yet he found a way through himself to create this completely different world that him or you or anyone else there could never have imagined for a young kid like him.
Now, we did a full interview with him. Instead of talking more about it now, we did a full interview with him on our YouTube channel. I'll link it below so you can watch it. Highly, highly advise it. Just get that perspective that your surroundings are not what creates you. You create your surroundings. Mm-hmm. It is not the situation that you have in life that's the reason for whatever things you have. It's you. It's you. And you shape that world around you, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm. So who we are today is not who we were. We changed from the inside out, and that's what changed the life we were living. And who you are right now is not the person who you will be, who will create the life that you dream of and that you're looking to achieve by joining this program.
Look, when you get to a point where you have a successful publishing business and you look back at who you are now, you're thinking, wow, they didn't know anything. Mm-hmm. You're just not the same person. You're just not the same person you are when you first got started.
And that's what you need to understand, and you need to focus on changing yourself. And that's what the following lessons are about, is how do you change yourself so that you can change your reality. So understand that success is created by changing who you are, nothing else. Now, there are many changes that you need to make about yourself to achieve massive success. This first lesson was just about becoming aware of it. We're creating the awareness for you of how this works. That's the most important thing. The first step is always becoming aware of knowing what's going on. So confronting yourself and understanding that you create and are responsible for everything in your life is just the first and most fundamental one. So these lessons are not just put in random order. This one is put first because this is the foundational realization that you need to be able to change everything. This first one had nothing to do about changing yourself. It just had to do with becoming aware. So with that said, that is the end of this lesson, and I hope it had a very big impact on you. The same way that when we realized this, it completely changed everything. Literally changed everything. And we'll see you in the next video.
See ya.